Hello, I'm the Supreme King,
And this is X Punishment.
and today the King's Queen is going to be bringing in a discussion video. And today we're going to be talking about the toxic side of the Yu-Gi-Oh community. Because, today something happened where X Punishment here. Well, I'll let you tell them.
I pretty much got attacked for 4.5 hours. A stupid amino for my own opinion on Charmers. I played this deck for how long have Charmers been out now?
I believe they first came out. They came out in the Lost One, which I believe was like 2004, 2005, 2006, somewhere around there.
So I would have been
About like 13 years ago, I believe they first came out.
So I would have been maybe 11,
Yeah,
12,
yeah.
or something like that. Yeah, I've been playing these cards since I've been little, and honestly, people always like, oh, you like these cards because they're women and whatnot. It's just no, because they're childhood to me. Like, I was 11 when these cards, or 11 or 12 when these cards came out, and actually, I was going through a tough time when I was 11, 12, actually, because that was around the time that my brother did things to me that he shouldn't have. About 3 to something like that years ago. I was 7, so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, so about 5 or so. And these cards were very much like Red Eyes to me. It's just they kind of clicked with me a little bit, and I enjoy them. And I found out that they're making an archetype. Later on, I stopped playing the game, and then later on, when I met Supreme King over here, he told me that there's an archetype of them now, and I was very excited. So I was like, well, do you happen to have extras? And he was like, well, I'll go check. And he just pulled all these cards out, and he just gave them to me. I was like, do I need to pay you? And first, how he is, he's like, no, just make sure you enjoy them and have fun with them. And that's what I always have. And I wasn't too okay with the Link Monsters, but Charmers actually, just yesterday actually, taught me how to Link Summon. And Supreme King has tried to explain to me how to do Link Summoning, but I prefer visual than be taught from text. And the deck really did help, in my opinion. But I'll let you take over.
I remember when Link Monsters were first introduced, you didn't like them because of Kenny's new rules, and I just said that, it's not Link Monsters' fault, it's the new rules' fault. The new rules only affect Link Monsters, and you're about to quit, but they decide not to, and you were just not into Link Monsters at all. And
no,
and then when they started making the Charmer Link Monsters, it's the deck that got you into Link something. Just like with me, I was the same way too. I couldn't find a deck that I was into, and Trek Stars got me to Link something, and then I got into Marincess, which is another one of my Link something decks. So yeah.
Yeah, it started to look interesting when you were starting to show me everything, and that's when I got interested.
And
how you explained it was that you do this, you summon this monster, and then you link, and I'm just like, I don't understand. The Charmers, you have to have a fire and another, let's say, another Charmer, and you can link them. So I was like, well, that's easy to understand. But everybody's like, oh, well, they all do the same thing. Well, when they get put to the graveyard, you can take that charm, like the same attribute of that Charmer, and just bring out like a familiar possessed.
if they're on the
or
field,
whatever.
you can send the two monsters in the same tree to the graveyard to bring up the Feeling Possessed, or with the one card, it's like if one goes to the graveyard, then you can basically get to swap it out for another one, it's unpossessed, but it has to be a different attribute.
Yeah.
So the thing is, if one goes, you get one takes its place.
Yeah.
And on top of that too, because you think maybe you lose all those cards. Well, then you use cards like Jar of Avarice and just take the cards back and use them again.
Yeah,
And
I usually always have one.
and the thing is though, even though this deck kind of came out 2006, they've been getting more support because a few sets after that they got familiar possessed forms. Like all of them have familiar possessed forms. There's the second forms, which people forget those, like Avalanching Asa, Raging Area, Storming, Blazing Gita. Yeah,
Those are good. Like they're very good because if you have one out in the field, you can literally special summon from your deck to summon an unpossessed. They're fantastic, and everybody's just like, oh, they're shit.
We're still missing because they're supposed to, like, they each get a little monster that goes with, like, Gigabyte, Inari Fire, Nefarious, Archie and Nefariousness, or something like that. It's the Earth one though, and then there's the Ranry, the most recent one they put in Rising Rampage. So they still have to do one for the Light and Dark one, which is basically an upgrade to Metabat and Happy Lover, I believe, the two monsters. So they'll probably eventually release those ones, but I hope to do those two.
But we can always just add Happy Lover to our deck.
We'll also go back to the go back and do the Light and Dark one's second form, like Avalanching Asa, for example, and then continue the Link monsters, because that's the thing. Because they're still getting more support. Like, we're going to get the Earthlink monster. We'll probably get that early next year, probably. Japan's getting that later this year. And then we just have to get the water, the light, and the dark, which personally I hope we get the water one next.
I just really hope that instead of listening to everybody what they said about the whole meta thing, we'll get back to that after that they'd make that Charmer deck. Like, as soon as you told me that, they had a thing on there about Charmers, I was like, really? Charmers? Like a deck of Charmers? That'd be perfect for me, because I'd be able to go to the store, buy 3 of those, and I got my freaking deck. Well, no, fucking meta ruined that.
Yeah, and...
Or whatever, like another archetype, but it was meta pretty much, I guess. Like, it was the meta archetype of that round.
They chose Shadal's because...
Which is pretty much the same fucking thing. You flip a goddamn card, you fuse it. Ooh, it's Charmers just on crack.
You people say flip monsters are slow and bad. Well, Shadal's are flip monsters, Subterrors are flip monsters. You go around playing those decks. I'm not saying those decks are bad.
No, they're really good.
I've tried Shadal's. I do like them because they're fusion. It's a fusion deck, but I never got in the deck because it got misused. But Charmers aren't bad. That's a good deck. And to those who say it's bad, obviously, play the deck, or you play for 10 minutes and just didn't, play it properly, and that's out of the point. If you played it and you said it's bad, obviously you're not playing it correctly, because I've seen people do Charmer decks and they didn't even use those Spiritual Art trap cards, or...
Why?
Like, the Wind trap card can put a card in the field on the bottom of their deck, so that can mess up something. The water
one... It's like a fucking attack on Drake's Migration!
The water one can basically send a card from their hand to guard, so basically you can get rid of their cheapo hand trap cards they use.
That'd be fun.
But the thing is, this deck is still getting more support. We're getting the Earth Link monster. We'll probably get 3 more Link monsters for them. And on top of that, there's still a continuous spell card that's a really good card for them that we still get to get in English. It came out late last year, so we might have to wait a year or 2 or more for that card. But it's a good card because...
Oh, fucking fantastic! I didn't know about it.
The thing is, with the Link monsters, they're Charmers, but they're also Familiar Possessed. So they get both the benefits off of cards that say to benefit Charmers and Familiar Possessed. Like the Unpossessed, it says Charmers get this effect, the Familiar Possessed get this effect. So there's 2 different effects. Well, the Link monsters get both, because it says this card's always treated as a Familiar Possessed card.
They're very interesting. Once I actually got reading at them, you can pull some very good combos with them as well.
And the thing is, people always say, well, taking opponent's monsters is really good in Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, that's what they do pretty much. And the thing is that the continuous trap card makes it so those Charmers you put face down can't destroy a battle, because I know the issue is if they get attacked and it has more than 1,500 attack point, or more than 1,500 attack points, then the monster's destroyed and it can't use its effect. But with that continuous trap card, they can't destroy a battle, so they just face up there. They stand the field, their effects activate, you take their monster. And then you could either use their monster, beat them down with it, or you could use it to link summon, or use one of your trap cards to tribute it off and use one of their effects, though, rather than treat off your own monsters. Like, there's a lot you can do with that, and it's really good, though.
Could you imagine that one Dark Magician, the older Dark Magician roller or whatnot, The one where if there's a spellcaster on the field, you have to destroy that spellcaster. Could you imagine they made a Dragon Shield version of the spellcaster? I just put that in my Charmer deck and just plop right that magic card in there and be like, oh look, Charmers don't suck anymore.
I think it could be Gaga Shield, but I don't think it does the exact same thing as what Dragon Shield
No,
does.
I don't think so either.
I think it's just it protects it from battle and card effects twice a turn. So I believe that's what that does. It's been a while since I've seen that card, but yeah, that's kind of the thing. But anyway, but the continuous spell card. So the continuous trap card, basically, Charmers can destroy battle and familiar possess when they attack. They gain their attack points when they attack.
Once.
And then when they're destroyed and go to the graveyard, of course, you have to destroy the Charmers by card effect. But when they go to the graveyard, you get a replacement card. Well, that's in face attack position, so you can put a familiar possessed in face attack position, or put a Charmer face down defense position. So you can do that. So protects ones from battle, and then when you have the continuous spell card, Charmers can't be destroyed by card effects, and familiar possessed can't be destroyed by card effects. The familiar possessed can still be destroyed by battle, but the thing is, for every monster with different attribute, it's 300 times the attribute. So, and with the new rules, the way the field is, you can have the 6 monsters. So if you have those 6 attributes, so you play out one of the link monsters, and have 5 different attributes, that's 300 times 6 is 1,800 attack points. But this is a continuous spell card. It's not a field spell, so you can have 3 on the field, and that stacks up. 1,800, 1,800, 1,800, which is 5,400 attack points. And there's also another card that people forget too. Like, remember, this is an elemental deck. Different attributes. So you can use cards like Furin Kazan, Elemental Burst, which destroys your opponent's whole field, which that's pretty OP. But there's also these pendulum cards called Dark Doriado, and it boosts it only boosts the attack points for Earth, Wind, Fire, Water monsters, but it's 200 points per different tree. So it counts light and dark, but it doesn't give them the boost. So, and of course, I know with the pendulum zones being where they are, that would fill up your whole zones. But
I figured it out.
But even if you do use those 2 there, that's 400 points times 600. So it's 1,200 for each one. So that's 2,400 more attack points. And the weakest monster deck is 500 attack points. So even with the 3 continuous spell cards, because personally the Charmer deck I built doesn't use the pendulums, I use the continuous spell cards because
mine does.
Yeah, that's the difference between our decks.
Yeah.
I don't main the deck. It's not one of my main decks. I'm trying to say it's one of my main decks.
No.
But I've tried the deck out because I'm thinking I want to learn this deck to help him with it.
And then I showed you the pendulums, and you tried them, and I think what you said was, "Oh my God, this is OP."
Yeah, but 54, even with the continuous spell cards, 5,400 attack points. That makes the lowest attack monster 500, a 1,500 attack point monster. People say attack means nothing. Attack does mean a lot in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because if that attacks you directly, oh boy. Because for an example, I just did a duel against one of these so-called meta decks. I believe it was like someone who was playing Dragoonies or something like that.
Dragoonies are meta again?
Because of all the cards at 3, they got their Link monster, and they have that, and the Wind Dragon came back to once. Now people are taking that.
So it's not a pure dragon. You had me.
I know it's not a pure, but they're just.
You had my hopes.
But dueled against that deck, used these Charmers, and I had 3 of the continuous spell on the field because I just happened to draw I just drew the cards. And the thing is, this card. Oh yeah, not to mention that too. If you play a spellcaster, if your normal summon or special one has 1,500 less attack points, you can draw cards. So it helps you draw cards. So there's always been somebody say the deck's slow, you can't draw these cards. That card helps you draw cards.
I actually forgot about that.
And you can use gold. And people are like, well, you can't search out. Gold Sarcophagus can search it out. So, but I had 3 in the field, and I had only 3 different attributes in the field. I had, a water. It was an earth, light, and dark monster, and I already had the 2 familiar possessed already at 4550 attack points. 2 at 4550 attack points, and the lower charm at 3200 attack points. And I'm thinking, wow, that's pretty OP. And I just destroyed that deck. And it's like they can't be destroyed by card effects. They tried using Mirror Force, didn't work. They tried using Raigeki, didn't work. It can't be destroyed by card effects. So they basically lost. And
they suck. Sorry.
Like, some people say, well, oh, have you gone to tournaments or won this day? You don't need to go to a tournament in order to be good. You don't need to have to go with a 50 win streak, no losses to be good.
Well, there's no tournaments around here.
Even if you duel against a meta deck 100 times and only win once, that proves that meta deck, or I should say meta because it's an opinion, by the way, that it's not the best another, because if the deck can lose at least once, it's not the best deck out there.
Yeah.
Every deck has its vulnerabilities, and no deck is perfect. Like, we're not saying Charmers can't lose, because yeah, they can lose.
Oh fuck yeah, they can totally lose. They can totally get overpowered real quick.
Like, yeah, they have their weaknesses. Like, if you use the Egyptian God deck on the wall, they can't do much to Egyptian gods because they're divine attributes, so they kind of bypass those other attributes.
Although if you work them together, it's pretty good. At least on dual links.
We gotta talk about the sorry about that. There's people say use DNA transplant in a Charmer deck because then you can control the attributes, but then everything becomes an attribute, and then cards like Possessed Awakening, the continuous spell card,
but it doesn't change the effect of the Charmer. It still states, if it flips a dark type.
Let's say you have the Fire Charmer face down, and
yeah.
they're using like water cards, and you flip up DNA Transplant, you declare water, or declare fire. You take their monster. But the thing is, with Possessed Awakening, you want to have multiple troops on your field. But if you only have one because of DNA Transplant, they're only getting 300 attack points each.
Yeah.
You want to have different ones. So, what is a card that only works on one monster that can change a tree? There's an equipped spell card called Scroll Bewitchment that was released in Labyrinth of Nightmare. That's a good card. You equip it on their monster, declare what tree you want, and then you take that monster. It becomes yours. And then you just do what you want with it. But people say equipped cards are slow and bad. Well, whatever you say. I beat these so-called best decks out of my decks that do have good that are equipped card based.
Phantom Knights, what? I remember that I had a Phantom Knight monster that went up to almost, I think the highest was 9 something, because I just kept putting all these equipped cards, and then I had this one extra space where it was like, I put the Phantom Cloak on it, and then it equips, goes into the graveyard, so that's like a double fucking power up. And equipped cards are slow, but yet I can also bring back another freaking helm. Clover Helm or whatever the hell it's called?
The Phantom Knights of Cloven Helm?
Yes, thank you. That one, I would have like 3 of those on the field. Now, they wouldn't be the same attack points as much, but the main one would be like almost 9 to maybe 8 or something. Like 8,000. The highest that I've ever gotten one was about 8,900 or so. And that can outbeat my Charmers, almost.
Yeah, like, you can even have, like, Charms to the point where they can go up to, like, 9650 attack points, and, of course, more if you desire. But, yeah, it's... the deck's not bad. It's a good deck.
Mm-hmm.
And you just need to know how to play it. You need to put time into it. Unlike people who just look up on, YouTube, what's the best deck out there? Copy it card for card.
I haven't seen anybody actually do a pure freaking Charmer deck. Like, usually there's like, I have this card, but that's not a Charmer. I have this card, that's not a Charmer. I have that card, that's not a Charmer. People have forgotten that there's such thing as pure decks. And that's where not everybody. I will say that there are a few people who are like, this card will go here. That's totally fine. But usually with, like, let's say for instance my zombie deck, if I don't have a zombie in my deck, I can't use it. I can't bring it back. I can't use the zombie as, to my advantage. I can't put it on their side of the field. I can't bring it to my side of the field. It's just in the graveyard. It's just completely useless. When I'm using my zombie deck, everything has to be a zombie. Because if there's one card that isn't, that will screw up your combo completely in the zombie deck. But that's my zombie deck. That's my opinion about a zombie deck. I'm not going to look around and just be like, that needs to be here, that needs to be here. I mean, I've done that to people before. But at least mine didn't have, like, fucking only 2 zombies.
Yeah, and just use Zombie World, make stuff like the Blackluster Soldier card.
God, it's cough.
Yeah, I gotta call those people out. but yeah, yeah, but what these people do is they just look up online what's the best deck out there, what decks are going good. They look up on YouTube videos, copy it card for card, and maybe take one or two cards out and just change it. But that's still a copy paste
Yeah, that's
deck.
still copying.
And
It's
then
like,
they look at YouTube. Then they look at tutorial videos because people say, "Well, can you show us how to play the deck, though?" And the reason they ask that is because they want to actually watch them do it and say, "Okay, so you do this." And the thing is, I really do against people who use these copy paste decks and they made so many misplays because they didn't have their tutorial video beside them.
like I mean, look at
It's that set out like, and this is what I said too because these people were harassing, and I got on too because I'm thinking there's like several dozen people harassing him and
there was
attacking him.
101 comments.
And yeah, there was over 100. No lie about that. There was so many. And I'll get into the intention as to what the post was for. But I jumped on because I saw all these people just harassing and attacking him. And these are people who go around playing meta decks. And these people, and I just said, you people have no creativity skills, no imagination skills, because you're literally looking up online what's the best deck out there, copying it card for card, maybe making one or two changes, and then looking up tutorials on how to play it because you're too bone lazy to actually, get off your ass, learn all the cards out there and do this. Because I know about every card out there, whether it's TCG, OCG, or Bill, and both. I know every card out there. I've watched the anime, the manga, read the whole manga, played the video games, you know, kept up everything with the card game. I know everything there is to know about Yu-Gi-Oh! So I know about what every card does and what the decks do. And these people are, don't even know. Somebody like, what's this deck? What's Charmers or what's Tachyons? What do these decks do?
It seems like I always use the underrated decks.
Because these people are so simple-minded, and then when you call them out, they got butthurt. They got butthurt to
Tachyon
the point.
Transmigration. When Tachyons first came out, what happened? I got freaking hated on. I got freaking people yelling and sending me death threats, stating you can't activate Tachyon Transmigration from your hand. And I say, read the card.
The last sentence of the card.
And then they freaking leave.
But to also give you an idea too, they don't have any creativity or imagination skills. They get buttered easy, and they're narcissistic people because the point of the post was he's just saying, I love my Charmer deck though because I taught Expunction, last night more about the Charmers and he really got into these.
Yeah,
and
that's what got me doing the links.
And today you're just posting and talking passionately about a deck that you build, that you love, that you enjoy. And he's just saying, and the only thing that would have triggered people was saying just meta is a joke, which, to be honest, it is.
I said that in a different post.
But
I didn't post that on there.
But the thing is, meta is an opinion. How it originates is one person builds a deck. Obviously they misuse cards because it's not a pure deck. And then they try and it's like, oh yeah, this deck's really good. Then all these then they post it online. People look and say, oh, this deck's good, and they copy it, and it's like this person is like a follow leader sort of thing. And then Konami catches on 6 months later. They say stop, ban list time. These cards or decks are now banned or hit to 1 or 2. And then the person who's the leader who made the deck begin, everyone's following behind the copy pasting. There's like, this deck destroyed. Let's get rid of it. Get a new deck. And then everyone follows suit. It's people go with the flow. They don't just go their own path like we do. They're the type of go with the flow, follow the leader. But does the leader know what they're doing? No, because the leader only knows about what deck is going good at the time. But the thing is, every deck can be good. There's hundreds of thousands of deck out there, and it's pretty. And when you don't follow the leader, people just will attack you and harass you. Yeah, and they do. Like I said, they'll give you death threats. Some of the stuff was saying, some of these things like saying I'm dense or stupid doesn't bother me one bit. But
autistic.
Yeah, that was the one. And that was the one where I'm just like, you know what? I'm not autistic, but I know someone who is. And even if I didn't know someone who is autistic, I have respect for people who have that. It's pretty sick that people got to use that in a term to put people down like it's a bad thing. Like people don't have control over that they have autism. You have control of your shitty attitude, and you can grow up and stop being a piece of shit scumbag because that's what you are.
Yeah.
And like that seriously is just going low. And honestly, the only thing I have to say about that, because this is the thing, they're children, they get bothered, so they pull out let's start popping out, the name calling card. Oh, let's call it this, let's call it that. And it's like, and how childish can you be? I at least say the point. You're narcissistic because you're saying He's an attention seeker, trying to say his deck's the best thing ever, trying to say nothing can beat it, and you're the people going around saying you're the best thing ever, you know everything, your deck's the best, it never loses. That's narcissism. Do you not know what narcissism is? You're a narcissist. Like, how dead are you between the head? Like, people, seriously, think. Not only that, you people are so desperate, you have to use a piece of cardboard for your pleasure because you can't get any real life. That's what you people are looking at. You're looking at your 8-year-old girl hand trap cards for your pleasure because you can't get any real life because you're that desperate. And we're supposed to take you people seriously, like you're the leader.
That is a joke. Remember that one guy? I got a comment and it's like, you ever wonder what Hidia, whatever, I can't pronounce her name, the fire one. You ever wonder what her freaking tummy tastes like? I'm like, I wouldn't do that. I'd hug her. Like, I love these characters. They're my childhood heroes. Like, there's no way that I would ever think of that.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. It's either someone's gonna say, "Oh, this is shit," or someone's gonna be thirsty saying, "Oh, these cards are hot," or whatever it is. It's like, keep that disgusting stuff yourself.
Yeah, no.
Like that's another part of the toxic part community. Like, because there's the disgusting, there's the competitive people, and there's these disgusting thirsty. And the thing is, they're actually one and the same because that's what these people are like. But
I was slightly disturbed, but it, like they're like her tight tummy. I was like, what? Her mating hips. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
But there's also people who are like saying, the fire, the fire, the fire tournament link monster, Hita goes in Salmon Grace, oh, they're only meant to go in whatever deck's going good at the time for the true. And thinking, not true. If you read the cards, it says 1850 attack or 15 or less defense. Well, what's their attack points? 1850 for the familiar possessed, and all the second and first forms, like the charmers, the second forms, have 1500 defense and less. So that's their intended purpose.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with you putting in like a Flamebell deck because that's where she went. She went. They made like an archetype of her, and she was either a Flamebell or the other flame deck.
Label?
Yeah, she was one of those. I don't remember which one she was. And then they all went their separate ways like through the years.
They kind of like it's kind of like a story they had going.
Yeah, I loved it. It was great to read. Look at the cards. Look at the photos. Like I think it was great for the Charmers to actually branch off. You know what I mean?
I think the Winda went off to be like, is it Winda Priestess of Gusto? I think they went to Gustos. They went to Ritual
Gustos.
Beasts.
Yes.
Priestess. There was Shadal Winda, which was also part of that though. It's a storyline. Not saying those cards go in those decks, but they did a storyline based off that.
I mean, look at Gigbite. I think it was. There's like
Jacobite.
There's so much like photos with him.
Gaga Gigo. That.
Yeah, that one.
Where it started off as the
great story.
Yeah, it's a whole story thing. But,
yeah.
But anyway, you should probably get the point there too.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, you're just passionately talking about a deck that you made that you love. And
I just love the artwork.
And he's not allowed to talk about something he enjoys without somebody putting their 2 cents in, harassing and attacking him. Now, you're somebody can say, well, you said meta is a joke. Well, the thing is though, like I was saying before, meta is an opinion because now some people are saying, well, that's based on facts with this little wheel thing that they're talking about, saying, well, these decks went to turns. Well, as I said before, I could build a Marincess deck or any deck, take it to a tournament and win.
I could take my Tapion deck and have a greater chance of fucking winning.
It's all an opinion.
It's all chance.
It's all an opinion. There's like the thing is, those people only know about those decks out of the several hundreds of thousands of decks. It doesn't matter if this deck was undefeated or let's say this deck topped at like 10 different tournaments across the world. It doesn't matter. That's still an opinion. You say this is facts. It's an opinion. There's other decks out there. It's because people are too stupid to actually pick up another deck that's not the deck's going there and go take that deck there. Like, you went to a tournament with like an older deck that wasn't going to turns and you won. You proved that point. It was like Red Eyes with 5-headed dragon, Future Fusion.
Oh yeah, fuck. It was in London or something. I don't remember where, but I did go to one. There was there was no prize. Don't get me wrong. If I remember correctly, there was no prize. We just went there for fun, and kids can learn how to play the game and all that. Like, that's what it was all about. Bringing kids in, learning how to play the game, if I remember correctly, like, forever ago. But if I remember correctly, we brought kids in, we showed the kids how to play the game, and, yeah, that's really all I remember. There was, like, kids and people my age, like, you had your juniors, you had your teenagers, you had your adults, and whatnot. And then, I'll be completely honest, I had a junior kid almost kick my ass. It was pretty impressive. Um, I believe it wasn't something meta. It was like this kid came up with like all of his little like favorite cards, and he put them in there, and he just freaking almost killed me. It was great. It had like Dark Magician in there, Red Eyes, Blue Eyes. I think it was like Seto Kaiba, kind of like with Joey and Yugi all in one deck. It was very interesting actually. Um, but that's what the game should be all about, is trying to teach people and trying to encourage them to be more creative with their decks. Like, this kid almost kicked my ass with this deck. I didn't know how to counter, and people are like, oh well, if you had Mirror Force and all that, like, why would I do that? Why would I cripple this kid the chances of actually being like, that'd be stupid. And it really was all down to the one draw that I got, and I got Future Fusion before it was nerfed and new abilities.
Another thing too that was stated, I'm going to go over a couple things I'll state too.
Yeah.
First off was the people that were harassing us though. And it doesn't bother me one bit at all. I'm just sitting back, just laughing my ass off at how stupid these people are, honestly, because they are just so thick-headed and so full of themselves. Because another thing too was, but yeah, these people are just like treating their opinions like it's a fact. Now that's stupid and dense. So you should be pointing the finger at yourselves, people, for saying that because you're the stupid and dense people for treating like your opinions are facts. You act like you're better than everyone else and stuff like that. There was also someone saying, well, can the charmers deal floodgates and hand traps?
Yeah, they can.
Of course they can. The thing is,
that's what they're made for.
This is the thing is, if you have to use floodgates and hand traps, they're not hand traps, they're effect monsters. The thing is, the one that he uses, it's not once per turn. It can negate anything, and these ones are once per turn. They can only negate certain effects, though. And they're not like, these people make their deck out to be like the most amazing thing, or they say these cards are the most amazing ever, and they're not that amazing. I'm not saying these cards are bad, but they're not as amazing as people make them out to be. And we're just saying the decks we play are good decks because people overlook them and say they're crap, though. And we're not just going to sit back and let someone say, oh, your decks are shit, when they're not. But the point is, though, if you have to go and using these hand traps and floodgates to basically stop your opponent from playing the duel, and you're just playing solitaire, your cards doing all these things, they're just sitting back doing this, that's not fun. That's basically like playing a Super Smash Bros. Game with somebody. Like, if we played Super Smash Bros., I took his control away from him, didn't let him have it, and just made him lose. Like, that's basically what you're doing.
You're gonna do that when Banjo comes out.
You're a noob. How unexperienced are you at this game that you have to require? It's basically cheating is what that is to do that. And you're gonna say, oh, you're just butter those cards. No, we're not. Those cards honestly suck. They're cheapo cards, which when we say cheapo, we're not saying they're cheap to get cards. They take no skill to use whatsoever. So,
I think we can say right now that there are some times when you can use one of these cheapo cards. Say, for instance,
I will say, for example, Skill Drain Malefics.
Yeah. Oh god, here we
go
again.
the other ones, the point of using these cards is to benefit your deck, not to cripple your opponent's deck. So,
like, Yuki, when she used the Swords of Neon Light and summoned Fire Spirit?
Raging Flame Sprite.
Raging Flame Sprite. And attacked me, okay? I haven't lost with my attacking on deck before, and I lost to that fucking card. She pulled that freaking card out of her ass. It was great. I had more respect for Swords of Being Light. It wasn't used to cripple me. It was used for her own advantage. That's, I
Basically,
believe, how you can change.
basically used to protect
everything.
the raging flame sprite.
Yeah, I think it was great. Like I don't think I could. No, I couldn't even negate it because it didn't have any overlays. So she really did really good.
But the other thing too is for those who have to use these hand traps and floodgates
Yeah.
for the purpose to stop what your opponent's doing, not to benefit your deck, because we use them for like Malefics, for example. But these people are using them to stop their opponent from doing anything. That just goes to show that your deck must be fragile if it can't handle a deck at its best. That just goes to show that your deck is really shitty because you need these cards.
Well, anything is really shitty when it goes against fucking Tachyons. I can
And
negate anything.
And it just shows you're a bunch of cowards because some people say, oh, I can't handle that deck, or because some people complain saying, oh, if every Dragon Lord came back to 3, I can't handle it, I'm scared of it. Whereas, or Firewall comes back to 1, people are like, oh, I'm scared of those. Or thinking, if honestly, I've dealt with these decks before because personally I do against loved ones like family and friends, and I only choose to do against those people because that's all I do against. Sometimes I go online, I duel somebody, and it's by accident, know that it ends up having one of these toxic people. And they're using these like firewall FTKs or these other decks are going well, and I don't have any problem with it. And these people are so scared of a piece of cardboard that they're like cowards. It's like, oh, I'm getting like PTSD from firewall FTKs. I'm so scared of it. My Trickstar deck just dealt with that like it was nothing. So how if my decks can handle that you say are shit, then you can do it too.
The whole firewall thing. That one guy that just kept doing these videos to make Firewall fucking banned. All because they wanted to animate protagonist's main key card to be banned. And it was like, really? Was that your motive?
Well, it's for your cyber decks. You know,
Well,
you
yeah,
/ Playmaker cyber stack.
I understand that correctly, but from what I've heard rumors, the only reason why they did all that is so they can actually have like a card that's a protagonist uses banned. And I'm just like, well, technically, didn't Maximilian Pegasus count as a main protagonist character? He was an antagonist, so he's kind of the opposite of an anime protagonist. And Relinquish was banned for fucking many years until
It was Thousand Eyes Restrict was the one.
Oh, it was Thousand
Eyes.
Eyes.
Fusion monster.
Ah, thank you.
But there's also stuff like Monster Born being banned around that time.
Yeah.
Mirror Force.
Yeah.
Harvey's Feather Duster was banned, even though it was used before. But just because the card's banned doesn't mean it's not going to show in the anime. Because Monster Born's been shown many times, so it's banned though. But the point is though, with this, then there was somebody else who was, basically like pointing, saying, "Oh, you're full of shit." This is when they're harassing us. They're like, "Oh, you're full of shit," because they're like, "Oh, well, you're playing that decks, me and me." Because I play because the decks they're pointing out was because I play Blue Eyes, Moonlights, and Trickstars.
How old do you think we are? Like seriously, we were out before the meta was real.
I played Blue Eyes ever since the start at Kaiba, and then in the show because when Kaiba first summoned up 3 Blue Eyes, like this is my favorite card now. Then when he fused them together in the one episode, make Blue Eyes Ultimate, it's like okay, I love this character and this deck so much. Then it got Burst Ring Destruction, its own spell card. It destroys all your opponent's monsters. Then when I saw Kaiba Man and GX use the deck though, it got Paladin of White Dragon Ritual, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm loving this deck. And Kaiba Man. And then in 5Ds, they gave the deck tuners and synchros. I thought, okay, I love this deck even more. And they just kept getting more cards. And even they brought back the original series of the new movie, and I really got in the deck even more. I've been playing the deck ever since Blue Eyes White Dragon first came out on that start at Kaiba, ever since the beginning.
And then there's me with Red Eyes.
And then Moonlights came out in Shining Victories, which I believe was 2016. I've been playing them since then. Trickstars came out 2017. I've been playing them ever since they first came out.
Yeah, I remember you were telling me about them, and I was like, well, what's so great about them? And you were just like, oh, I can make them go like this, and I was like, holy shit.
But I'm going to get to the point, too, here.
Yeah, sorry.
So, before Trickstars were actually released, even in Japan, though, because there was people doing videos saying, okay, the 3 new, because this is around when they're announcing the new rules, and they're showing off the new decks and the characters. So, Yusaku's or Playmaker's deck was the Cyber deck, which is computer-related. Not really into that one. And I can't really relate to the character as much as I can another character I'll be mentioning here. Go. He's like a wrestler, who uses Gokis, which is like a wrestling deck as warriors, and if one goes to grid, you get replaced with another one. I was like, that's not my style. And then Aoi is the character I can relate to the most out of any fictional character anyone has seen, and of course out of Reigns. And she's the one who uses the Trick Stars, or known as Blue Angel, Blue Girl, or Blue Maiden. And her deck reminded me of, because I actually made a trolley deck just for fun to counter cheapo decks. It was like a lava golem deck, which like it did effect damage, it did banishing cards and milling their decks though. So destroy their deck, their life points, and banish their cards. And this deck reminded me a bit of that, but it mostly reminded me of the Melodious deck because Aoi's a dual tainer, and these are light fairy monsters just like Melodious, and you can swarm the field.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually started trying these cards out though, and they were fun to use. And this is before they were even released in Japan, because of course Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Percy's the thing,
Mm-hmm.
and people were saying, "Oh, the deck's just gonna be a fun deck. It's not gonna do that amazing." And I'm just playing. I'm thinking, "Oh, this is a fun deck though," because people were saying, "Well," because this person said, "Oh, well, they were meta from the get when they first dropped." I'm thinking, I played them before that, and you people are saying they're not gonna do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And even since I've been playing them still since then. And you people are only using the cards from the Code of Duel set, their first support from their first set. I'm using like 3 of every card that was released for Trickstar, 3 of every Trickstar cards, and the deck's amazing. Like it's a really good deck. And when I got a Fusion Monster, I fell in love with it more because Fusion Stone is my favorite method, and I'm just like, this is my favorite character in Reigns, the character I can relate to the most out of any fictional character I've ever seen. That goes for even Pokemon, My Hero Academia, or anything else I've seen. And this deck is totally my style. And then, of course, she got rid of Trick Stars and started using Marincess, and I got into that deck because I thought it was cool. And I realized it's like, oh, cool, this is a Water Cyrus deck. I wasn't really into Cyrus decks, but then I got into this deck. And 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 yeah, and I got the cards recently. I looked at all my decks, like all the deck poses you see on my channel. This is my first Water deck, and the Water Retreat is my favorite attribute. So, but I've played Trickstars ever since they first came out. Blue Light since they first came out. Blue Eye since they first came out. And even when they first came out, they weren't going to the tournaments or anything like that. And this person said, "Oh, you're just playing them because they're meta. They're going to the tournaments." I said, "No, because the anime got me into these decks." And one of those same people said, "Oh, you're just one of those anime people who watch the anime and play it for them." I'm thinking, that's true. I play these decks because the anime got me into these decks. Now, not all the decks I play were using anime because Demise and Ruin, like Demise is used in GX at one point as one of the Supreme King servants. Noble Knights, there was a couple cards. I think it was like one card that was used by Sherry LeBlanc in 5Ds.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have a couple decks that weren't really anime based, but other than that, most of them are because of the anime and the manga. And I'm playing the decks because of the anime or the manga, not because they're going to tournaments. And this person was saying, "Oh, well, the Trick Stars went with Orcus or Blue Light Orcus." I'm thinking, I don't use the Orcus cards in my decks. I play pure decks. And before this guy was talking about, because I've already looked up to see why people are saying blue, to look at, because they're saying, "Oh, Blue Eyes is meta, Blue Lights are meta, Tricksters are meta." So I'm thinking, okay, let's see how they built the decks though. And there was maybe only a few cards in the main deck and the extra that are actually Blue Eyes cards, Blue Light cards, or even Trickstar cards. And I'm thinking, these aren't even Blue Eyes, Blue Light, or Trickstar. These decks are shit. They're not pure decks.
Mm-hmm.
And I even said this person too, those aren't Blue Eyes decks, those aren't Blue Light decks, those aren't Trickstar decks. What I play is a pure deck, and it's nothing like their decks at all.
Mm-hmm.
And this person's just basically like, "Oh, you're full of shit." And I'm just thinking, because I basically actually built the deck probably for its intended purpose, like, really?
Kind of like how, sorry to interrupt, but how you explained your brain's character is kind of like me with Mazar and Yuto. As soon as I saw freaking Tackon Dragon, I got off my seat and I was like, I need that. Like, there was many characters, I think, that I could say that they're exactly like me. Like, I can literally say Joey's like me, but Mazar was definitely...
Atticus to away.
Yes, Atticus 2 away, but Mazar really pushed me into Zexal, I think. He was really the one that really pushed me, because not only that, he was a Varian, but he can also talk to dragons, and I love dragons, and he pretty much just said, dragons are my best friend, and whatever. I think that was great. And then there was Yuto, where I think...
He's like the rebellious
one. He was the rebellious one, and he reminded me in high school, and I was like, I like him. He reminds me of my youth, sort of idea. But anime can touch you in many ways, like the manga, the Yu-Gi-Oh! R, the Vampire Kingdom chick that used the vampire cards. I forget her name.
What was that Camula from the GX anime?
No. It was in the Yu-Gi-Oh! R manga. I don't remember her name. Or was that? Or was she the one from GX?
Camula was the Shadow Rider in GX that used the vampire card. She had like vampire. It was like the zombie madness structure deck she used.
Yeah,
but that though. But it was like mostly vampire lord, vampire genesis.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the one from the manga, the Yu-Gi-Oh! R. I don't remember, but whoever she is, she got me into doing zombies, and I was like, "Yo, Scream King, how would this all work?" And you were like, "Oh, well, they're coming up with new vampires," and I was like, "That's great! Like, I can totally use that to my advantage." And I used pure just vampires, and I was just demolishing everybody. Remember that? Like, I literally sat there and I was like, what deck is this? That's Shadal's. Oh, I just destroyed it. Like, it was like the Tachyons with Light Swarms that one time. That guy kept trying to mill my deck or something like that, and I kept activating Tachyon. It's a fact. But anyway, the anime and manga can really do a lot. But that's my opinion where it's touched me. Because, I mean, you were talking about it with yourself, so I thought, me as well.
Yeah, it's kind of what got you into Red Eyes. It got you into like
Red Eyes.
Got you into Malefics, Tachyons, Phantom Knights. Like those are just the main ones to mention.
Not only that, but I don't want to say Red Dragon Archwing was the reason why I got into synchros, but it was really Malefics that really brought me into the whole synchro summoning. And then I started going to be like, oh, I really like Jack Atlas's playstyle, because it was all about raw power and taking over the field, and I really enjoyed that. And yeah, like it's crazy how a lot of people are just like, oh, they're dumb. Like the Earthbound Immortals, we came up with like a little idea that I would do like the Earthbound Immortals and you do the Mech Lords, and we're just like, oh god, that'd be like the most craziest freaking combo ever. They should totally do that. And they never did. We were disappointed.
But the thing is, with Mech Lords, even if the opponent's not using synchros, they're still fine.
Oh yeah.
But the one thing I want to go over too is because I know the one deck I've mainly been talking about was Marincess, and because people were basically either they're throwing frogs in the deck, or they're Paleozoics, or they're throwing mermails in because like, oh, this deck is just awful, it's bad. That's what these people are saying. And I built the deck as a pure deck though. And it's really, I've actually really made an OP deck. Like, I really made, like, Marincess Marble Rock with the 61 attack points, can't be destroyed by battle, and unaffected by card effects, and you take no battle damage at all. And it's, like, 61 attack points. And I know, because the deck is mainly, it kind of reminds me of Tachyons. You can use one card.
Yeah, I saw what you meant.
Marincess Seahorse, that one card is it's like the 7th one. Only for this deck, you play it out once, you get to link 1, to link 2, and link 3 using just one card. So it's like the 7th one. And then this deck has trap cards you can activate from your hand if you control a link 3 or higher Marincess monster. So it really reminds me of Tachyons.
When you told me that, I'm like, nah, it can't be. And I was watching it, and I was like, oh wow, it really does remind me of Tachyons. This is awesome.
And Marincess Wave is kind of the Tachyon Train Integration. It's not as good as it, but it can negate one monster's effect though. So it's not really as good, but it does have its benefits. Tachyons has its benefits, Marincess has its benefits, but that's just our styles. You're in the Tachyons, I'm in the Marincess.
Oh yeah, like, frick, if we were in the tag, I mean, the only issue we would have is my Tachyons would negate your effects, but I think it would be only for like one turn.
Well, my cards are unaffected by card effects, so.
Oh yeah, that's very interesting.
So that means like, because somebody I do, and again I do against an Draguni deck with this deck, and they're like Mirror Force, and they try to use Scrap Dragon, and it's like can't destroy them because they're unaffected by card effects. Because if you use the field spell and you use Marincess Crystheart, the Link 2 monster, and give 3 equipped cards, it gains 600 attack points. That's 1800 attack points, 6 for each equipped Link monster, and then 200 from the field spell. And there's the effect monster in the hand that you can send to the graveyard, which you can use the effect twice, which gives 800 more attack points. Every card in that deck is amazing, and I'm really hoping that Reigns doesn't end as soon as they're saying because I want to see more support for this deck because I'm really loving this deck though. You know,
I hope so too, man. I really do.
I'm glad I found my first water deck, and honestly, like, yeah, I like to duel your Tacklin deck. I can even duel your Benny deck. This is that's like
Oh
your water
man,
deck, though.
you know what's funny? I made that deck from my bare hands. I literally read everything of. It was kind of like a mixture of Sharks deck.
It was basically like the
I
Phaedra structure deck. It was like maintaining the Atlanteans. That's mainly what it was that. But you also
no,
had some other
actually,
cards in there.
I mainly used like Shark cards because I was like, I'm just gonna make a pure Shark deck. Remember? And then I started reading some of the cards effects. I was like, oh well, what if I add this and that? And I actually made a really good water deck. But the thing is that I said that I made this water deck, and everybody's like, "Oh, you copied it online." I was like, "I did? Where?"
It's like because it was what was the base of it was the Atlantean cards, but you put in shark cards and underwater cards.
Yeah,
But what people are doing with the Atlantean cards, they're mixed with mermaids, just like how with Marin says they're mixing Paleozoics and frogs into it though.
I didn't like mermaids that much.
No,
Actually.
it was a deck that wanted to tournaments on its own without
Oh,
Atlanteans, but we were just throwing that in there just to give
yeah,
it
I
extra
didn't like mermaids.
benefits.
I
Just
I really liked Benny.
yeah.
Or what the hell is his name? I just call him Benny.
Other water decks I do like was Marin, the Barry Marin's deck, the one using number 103.
Yeah,
But it was just a water wing beast and they didn't do too much. I really want to see more. Please make more cards to that deck
I
though.
agree. That would be kind of cool.
And the other water deck I like too is Alexis using the anime and the manga. It's the Snow deck, which destroys ice counters where they can't change their battle position. They can't attack though. It's like because there's like the Snow Dust Giant card. There's Snow Dragon, Snowman Creators. It's basically snow water cards that destroy the ice counters. It's like Ice Princess, Blizzard Princess.
I love Ice
Those cards though, and there's like some White Knight cards that were water that went there. But I like to see more for that deck because that deck was amazing. It was a cool deck though, but it just they didn't really do much with it. I want to see more for it though, but because and that's why I was happy that they made an actual archetype called Marincess that was a water deck. I'm thinking, well, now I have an actual water deck I can use now because there are two decks they just forgot about and gave up on.
Yeah.
So, and just like even with Trickstars too, I thought they were giving up on that, but they made this card called Trickstar Fest, and it's an amazing card for Trickstars. Like I wish they'd print Birdhelm and Vision, but and I like how they designed the card so you can so when you activate you can only play Trickstar monsters that turn, and people are saying, oh that card's awful because I can't play like Boral Lord or Boral Sword Dragon. I'm thinking it's
Well, it's for pure.
yeah
Like what the fuck?
Konami shouldn't have to go back and change every card like cards whatever. Like yeah, Konami does make a lot of mistakes too, but they shouldn't have to like change every card like change number 107 so it says two level 8 dragons or something like that. They shouldn't have to do that, or they shouldn't have to change the Red Eyes XZ monsters to say two level 7 Red Eyes monsters. It's your people's fault for doing that. But I do like how Konami's putting in some effort to at least make cards more archetype specific like that, so it prevents people from misusing the card. Because I'd like to see that. And then when they put the restriction on, they're saying, "Oh, this card is shit," though. But if the card is in the restriction, people are saying, "Oh, this card's too OP, it needs to be banned and stuff like that." It's like no matter what, you people are always whining, complaining if it's either too good or too bad.
I mean that's kind of like how the charmers are. In order for the charmers to actually work, you need all the charmers. It's honestly true. Like that's really a good archetype deck to actually explain that pure decks. Another good one is Phantom Knights. You can't just play one Phantom Knight. You need all of them. You need every single Phantom Knight in that deck. Because if you don't have them all, then you're just fucked. And then another one would be, I know I'm going to say it wrong, but for Frights?
Frightfurs.
Frightfurs, thank you. You need pretty much a ton of Frightfurs.
You need the Fluffles and the
Yeah.
Edgems, because the Fluffles plus the Edgems equals the Frightfur monsters.
I mean, there's like the Hex, whatever, the Dark Hex or whatever.
The Dark Exiled Fusion
Yeah,
series.
I know that you can use that, but in my opinion, like, why would you do that? Like, that takes up a spot for another Edge Champ or another.
I only use the Light Exiled Fusion of my Blue Eyes deck to basically bring a Dragon Master Knight, so I'll just take like Blackluster Soldier, the original one, combine it with or the Light Exiled Fusion, and then play it out. Or if you have a Blue Eyes and on the field you just send it to the, you just fuse that with two or Blue Eyes, make Blue Eyes Ultimate. So that's the purpose. But yeah, like I said about the Marinza's deck, like it's a good deck pure on its own, and the fact that I played the deck pure and it was kicking these so-called best decks asses like that, like shows it doesn't. You don't need frogs, you don't need Paleozoics, you don't need mermails in the deck though. And I see other people who are like, oh, I built a pure deck, but they're still using like the Boral like monsters in there and those hand traps in there and all that sort of stuff though. And honestly, you don't need that. And I actually thought of some combinations, some other cards to use that go good with it. Honestly, um, again, like I said, sign optimization is a good card. That's our card. That's a good card. Grid Rod's actually a good card though. I didn't get sign up mining because yeah, it's a good card you can use, but right now it's like $40 to $50 just for one card. And yeah, I can add a Cyber's Monster deck to him. But I'm thinking this isn't a card I mainly would use in this deck. And honestly, I'm not spending that much. If it gets cheaper, I'll get the card. But if they release more Marincess cards, we're not going to need that because the thing is with Marincess, especially Blue Tang, you excavate the top three cards of your deck and add a Marincess card from your deck for one of the three cards of your hand. But if you have your deck clogged with anything but Marincess cards, you get nothing. That's why you build pure decks. But yeah, that's just basically what it was though.
Mhm.
But and I'll just gonna put a bit of a conclusion on those people. Um, if you're a part of the toxic community, and I'll define what the toxic community is, at least to myself. You're a thirsty person, or you're a person who goes around building copy paste decks, claim them as your own, playing just to win, misusing cards, and go around spewing this best deck or meta nonsense bullshit. Though, if you're people like that, I consider you toxic people, and you know, and don't communicate with myself at all because I'll block you instantly, and I have no respect for people whatsoever.
Yeah, especially the people who treated me.
Like you people are like honestly, you people are just a bunch of bullies just because we're not just like you. Like you have to be like these people, otherwise they will bully you.
Yeah.
That's what they're like. They're just a bunch of bullies who, you gotta have the same opinion or the same deck as they do, otherwise they just attack you and harass you. And they're just so simple-minded, so childish. Need to grow up and need to get a life because the fact is, even after like this went on for 4.5 hours. I don't think we really explained. It went on for 4.5 hours, and about an hour into it though, we just said, you know what? These people are stupid because everyone was commenting the same thing. Like
I put my
one account
phone
after the
down.
next though.
I just put my phone down.
I'm just like block, 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 block. I literally blocked like at least 14 people, just blocked all those people. And even after that, 3.5 hours later, they still won't stop because these people are like, gotta get the last word in, they're not answering us, gotta, harass them more. Like they just don't stop. And then even after that, they're reposting it and saying, trying to turn into some like online meme or something. I don't know. And it's just like, you people need to get like all you people do is you go on your damn shit book. You go on the dual amino, and you do all this sex role play, go around making copy paste decks and spewing your damn meta bullshit because you got no freaking life.
Not all of them.
Well, those toxic people are thirsty.
Yeah, I will say toxic people.
But there is some good people I've taught that they're nice people though, and this is why I don't say anything at all because what I do, and I'm not trying to like insult these people, I'm just stating a point. I'm stating a point, not trying to put them down. It's like, yeah, stating a point, which would be to correct these people because being narcissistic like that is a bad trait, honestly. Like, at least I can look at myself and say, at least I actually take fault for my actions. These people are just like, nope, it's never our fault. It's always this guy's fault here.
Yeah, and then they said that I was looking for attention when my phone was on the table.
You people ask for attention because you're literally reposting his stuff and just basically nonstop not shutting up about it. Like I said, after this, we're not going to be going much into more because honestly, it's just a waste of time. Honestly, after this stuff, but this whole video was just to get this off our chest because you people are sad excuses of human beings. Honestly,
I literally left the amino after. As soon as people are just like, "Oh, you're just here for attention," I'm just like, in my opinion, I don't need this. I don't need this in my life. I'm 24 years old. Like, I think I should know when I want attention. If I want attention, I'll go to my mom. Like, Jesus Christ.
I also like the fact I got called a kid. I'm thinking, I'd love to be a kid, but
don't we all?
But it's kind of funny how you people make these stupid insults. Like, why do you people pull out these insults out of a hat, hoping that fits the bill? Because all those insults, none of them actually fit. I wish the one did. I wish the whole kid thing fit. I wish it did, honestly. I guess I'm a child of heart, yes, but I kind of did wish that fit. But other than that, none of them fit at all. And I'm not trying to go, and I'm not going around saying, oh, you probably live in your mother's basement. No, I'm not going to go on that because that's just honestly the lamest thing I'd ever think of. Honestly, those commonly used phrases people use, because at least the stuff I used was actually true, because I'm like, yeah, you're narcissistic right here because you're blaming him for what you do, and you're literally building a deck, because I've seen these people's decks and they were just copy paste decks. I'm just thinking, yeah, you don't have any imagination or creativity skills. So I'm just stating a point, basically to try and say, hey, doing that's not okay. But if you people want to do it and be narcissistic or be it, fine, but keep it to yourselves. Keep your negative opinions to yourselves. Like, seriously,
Mm-hmm.
have some respect. And I will say this too: his charmer deck, him playing the deck when we duel, or our sort of stuff, is not stopping you from sleeping at night. It's not stopping you from getting up in the day and enjoying your day. Or is it that much that you're so triggered that, oh my God, X Punishment's not playing Salmon Greats. I can't sleep at night. We need to make him play Salmon Greats. We need to stop him from playing Charmers.
Like, what the fuck are those?
Like, it's not bothering you. If it's not bothering you, keep your 2 cents to yourself. Nobody asked for your opinion.
I just gave an opinion, that's all. You can take it, you can go tell them to go fly a kite. That's
Those people deserve the butt report, honestly.
No. That whole amino deserves the butt report.
You need the wet wipes, you need the tissues for your issue, and get the royal brand too, because with your royal asses.
No. They need the double stuff royal brand, okay?
And you need some tampons too. You need that too.
No, I need to make sure they have a reason to have tampons. I'll shove a sword up their ass or something. That would work fantastic. But apparently, I know this is going to be a lot, but apparently on the amino, the leaders just don't do anything. They do nothing. That's why that amino is like how it is. And yeah. I got that from an actual curator from there. They just said, I stopped caring because of these people.
Yeah, the people are just so toxic. And honestly,
yeah, if a curator from the amino is stating that, then you have something wrong in your amino and you need to fix it. Coming from a person who owns one, who's actually worked for one.
Like, if you're the owner of that amino, you should ban these people, because that's cyberbullying, and I'd be banning all those people. Because honestly, if some toxic player came onto my amino, like if I made a Yu-Gi-Oh! People came into it, I'd ban them in an instant. Because that's not needed here. And I know there's toxic people in other card games and other games where someone's always trying to play the best thing, whatever it is. There's always people like that. Because, yeah, every community has its toxicity.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't have respect for those toxic people, because why should I? They're the reason why, they ruin the fun for the game. Because, honestly, whether it's a video game or a card game or a board game even, what's the definition of a game? It's to play for fun. That's the point of it. Whatever happened to having fun? Whatever happened to when your parents bought you a deck or a video game, and you're playing it for fun? Those good old times. Why is it now that you have to win? You don't have to win, If you
I even said that in one of the comments. Winning isn't everything. They're like, winning is winning. You don't just give up and whatever. You need to win. It's like, winning isn't everything.
I also love how they're like, oh, well, they're trying to like advertise their meta decks, saying, oh, because I remember at one point it was like, let's advertise our meta decks to help these casuals play the game better. I'm thinking, I've been playing ever since 2002.
I've been playing since it first came out.
Yeah,
we both have been. You were a little bit older than I am, but it doesn't matter. Like, jeez.
It's funny how they're assuming that, oh, they know nothing, they're stupid. I'm thinking, keep making these stupid assumptions and these stupid insults. At least the stuff that we did was not an insult. It was a point proven. You are narcissistic. You have no creativity or imagination skills. So, yeah. And honestly, you're the dense ones because you're treating your opinion like a fact. How lame can that be? How buttered do you got to be? I also like how, too, someone's like, oh, I'm not buttered, I'm just stressed. I'm thinking,
oh my God, yeah, I remember that. All because, what did you say?
I stated a point. I just said that, meta is an opinion. Any deck can be good, depends on the person. There's no such thing as the best deck out there, because any deck can be good, depends on the person.
Well, except for Taka and Transmigration, that's the best hand trap. I'm kidding.
But these people just got... I don't have the stuff here because the people got blocked.
Yeah, they literally deleted everything. They literally, like, I had nothing to work off of. I was gonna go and freaking screenshot everything, and as soon as I was gonna go and do that, gone. Like everything was gone.
That's
And
how far they got though.
like there was very few, but they weren't as bad as the other ones. Like what's even funnier, the I think the one guy that was talking with the one charmer about the belly thing, I think he actually got banned.
Well, I reported that one who used that insult that was just
The
downright low.
autistic?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just
I did too.
ridiculous.
That wasn't okay.
That's going too far, honestly.
But I guess we better cut this. We've been doing this for an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, we have 4.5 hours worth. This is nothing compared to like you guys are getting like pretty much the summary of what happened. And
yeah, just what I remember.
This was my day. Like my day's completely ruined today.
Like you just basically wake up, make a nice friendly post like, oh, I love this so much, and someone's gonna badmouth it like it's ruining their day. Like you're not ruining anyone's day. Who pissed in your Cheerios? You know who did that?
Duquette. Sorry. It's a running gag we have here. So I don't think we ever explained that. So
Nah.
it's just a running gag that we have. But anyway, I guess we better wrap this up.
Yep.
So I'm Max Punishment.
This is Spring King.
And we'll see you all next time.
All right.